Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here, of course, at Bitcoin once more, just generally understanding the best practice and big picture. And simply put, traditional markets are down by half to a full percent, and dollar index is effectively zeroed out. So with Bitcoin being up by 1% on the day, that's actually not a terrible thing. We're going to look at the higher lows and higher highs potential here, of course, on the smaller time frames and see if it's going to sustain itself. But generally speaking, it did bounce off that level of 16,150 as we discussed yesterday. So it's great news to see that support level holding there strong with that 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. Now, if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor, just love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. Obviously, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link down below. If you want to use the best exchange possible, Bitget is effectively the best exchange I've ever used. And if you want to benefit from a $10,000 prize pool monthly just by using trading volume and or having a good profit and loss percentage, then you're going to be able to take some easy profits there. Again, all you got to do is use the link in the description below for that to qualify. And obviously, if you want to become a better trader, again, CryptoCache.tech is a site where you can essentially register to benefit from my signals. We actually took 885% from, I think it was BNB. It did take us about a week to get that, but also this happened last week as well. So again, you got to recognize the market that we're in right now. Getting massive gains in a short amount of time isn't always the thing, right? Now, granted, we did take almost 100% from Bitcoin in roughly 24 to 48 hours, but that's a different story. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you got to be patient. So the signals we have out right now, please be patient. I promise you we'll hit our targets. That being said, let's go ahead and see how that's going to happen perhaps, and obviously identify what the big picture might look like here. So on the daily, what we want to look at is a handful of little things. Now, as I mentioned before, the oscillators are still increasing here for the MACD, so still gaining momentum to the upside. This is positive, not necessarily the only reason to take a trade, but it's still a very good thing. The RSI, of course, is under 50. We've been there for some time, ever since FTX crashed. So again, 2022, November 7th of 22, this year, essentially 3 weeks ago, we saw that catastrophic event, and we've been stuck under 50 on the RSI for some time. But we are trending positively and doing well above that for a couple of weeks. We can get back there again, it's just a matter of time, but at this point I wouldn't expect it to bounce back immediately. Again, the harder something falls, the longer it takes for it to recover. Okay, so don't expect phenomenal things from Bitcoin anytime soon, but I do think that we are due for at least another retest of some of these resistance levels, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. That being said, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the moving averages. We are still testing 50 on the RSI, 50 on the moving average. Correction again, third correction, three times so you get it right. This is a 20-day simple moving average rather, on the daily. And the 20-day simple moving average is basically working as a resistance level here, or somewhat of a resistance shelf. And again, it's not a strong resistance level, but it is one nonetheless. So it does kind of reiterate the fact that 16,500 could be a potential area of contention, and to break above that would give us a lot of strength and momentum to the upside, because there'd likely be a short squeeze. There's a lot of liquidation just above that level. And again, the reason why I know that is just simply put, anytime you have a strong resistance level, a lot of shorts will hedge their bets right there above that level with a stop loss. Once those stop losses trigger, a bunch of longs go up, go further, and it goes fast and quick, and things turn around quickly. So we're not there yet, but that's just, again, strictly hypothetical scenario there, but that's roughly what we're looking at there. And if we take a look here, of course, it's kind of hard to see with the charts, but you can see the 50 and the 20-day simple moving average kind of averaging out right where the price action's at. So the likelihood of a bounce here would make sense. Again, no guarantees, but it does feel like it wants to continue higher there, because this is a nice healthy pattern so far. So as long as this low doesn't go much lower than 16,300, I think we're going to be in good shape to see a continuation upwards. What we want to also look at too is RSI. We are currently trending below 50 on the RSI, but this candlestick hasn't closed yet. So I'm not super concerned with it just yet, because again, the previous one, if just say for example, if this price action comes up here, then we will see essentially a bounce on the RSI. Okay, that's what we're kind of looking for here. So the benefit here is that we've retested that level or above that level for the moment, and it would be excellent for us to continue to maintain that. We are starting to see a little bit of a dip here though for the MACD, so it's not necessarily going to diverge perhaps, that could happen, but it's still slowing its momentum, right? Obviously, we're losing momentum if you see this, because this strong little push up got kind of rejected by this level here at 16,500. Almost exactly, you see that perfect level at 16,500. So again, 16,500 is a resistance level for the moment. It is a Fibonacci retracement level. All signs point to that being a potential area of contention, but If we can establish higher lows here and effectively continue higher and retest that level, we'll have somewhat of a cup and handle pattern, and it will be likely to break out to the upside. Okay, so I think that's probably a strong likelihood for us to see something along those lines. So, all right, so that's kind of where we're at there on the 4 hour. Last thing we want to take a quick look at, I don't think we are overextended whatsoever, but we're up to a 5 on TD sequential, so this could continue to run. We could have another 20 hours of continuation to the upside. Looking at the 1 hour, let's quickly identify this here. Same scenario as well. Take a quick look at the TD sequential. We came up to, of course, a 9, got rejected out at 16,500 resistance level. Now we're down to a 7. Okay, so the likelihood of the price action going down further is less likely. The more likelihood we're going to see is either sideways and then down if it were to, or sideways and then up. The likelihood of the price coming up is greater based on the fact that we have that resistance level, we have that potential cup and handle pattern, and the likelihood is greater for the price to retest 16,500. I think that's more likely than the price coming down. But again, you never truly know. That's why you try to wait for confirmation. Again, try to be patient in this game. It's important. It can be very difficult with so much opportunities here and there, and the fear of missing out or just missing out on an opportunity can be almost, in some cases, worse than getting into a bad trade. But I can assure you, at the end of the day, you'll feel better about not losing money versus the potential of not having missed those gains, right? It's just something you gotta kind of work with. And if you're currently a community member, watch some of my videos near the end of my Trading Academy. I think it's chapter 7 or chapter 8 about risk tolerance and controlling your emotions. Those things are very important. Take a look at the Ichimoku cloud. What we can see here is, of course, standard stuff. In other words, lagging span is sort of intersecting with the candlesticks. I don't concern myself with that too much, but generally speaking, this is telling us that we are close to potentially closing our long position, but I would hold off on that because we're well above the cloud, we're well above the support level. We got some really positive factors here coming into play. Okay, so again, even though, yes, the conversion line and the baseline are potentially going to intersect in the relative near future, we got to give it a chance to figure itself out. Okay, so again, it continues to go lower. As long as we don't close today below 16,300, I think we're just fine. That, to me, is a point that is an obvious level of support, therefore previous resistance level, and essentially go ahead and continue to maintain the price action. I think we're looking pretty good. But all in all, I think Bitcoin has more positive than negatives here. I would not by any stretch say that it's just it's going to ramp up and go on a tear. But I can tell you that the likelihood of a retest of 16,500 after a potential bounce of 16,300 is extremely likely, or more likely than the inverse of the price continuing lower. Again, just kind of what the TA is telling us here. It's more like, at this point with everything we've kind of looked at, it's like a 65% probability of going up versus a 35% probability going down. So to me, those are odds that I like to work with more so. If we wait for confirmation, those odds will increase. All right. So again, wait for the candlestick to close above 16,300 a day. And if so, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape because once again, volatility can occur near the end of the traditional trading day. So when you see somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m. Pacific, or whatever time that is for you, that's a very volatile time frame. You want to kind of wait that to, allow that to happen first and then continue, because the Eastern markets join the markets and essentially things can go in one direction or the other, as we've seen here previously. So just make sure you maintain a little bit of patience there. All right, that's what we got here so far today. Hope this was beneficial and made sense to you. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We look forward to working with you. Take care.